Sorry, I was a little late getting ready, Jordan. I didn't know I was going to have this until I woke up.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Stokastic.com MLB Strategy Show, Monday, April 8th. You know what that means? We're all going to die. Yeah, solar eclipse coming up. At least I get to hang out with my buddy Josh Engelman one more time. He's joined me for the first time this season on the MLB Strategy Show. Little respite from basketball today with NCAA championship. So I'm thinking, how is this going to work once we go to NBA playoffs? Because I mean, obviously, are you just going to run the strategy show through the postseason, like even through the showdowns though?
I hope not.
Because that
the first round for sure, because we usually have like 2 or 3 game slates on most of the days, especially for the first. You know, everybody's got to play 4 games no matter what. So for the first week or 2 of the playoffs, it's business as usual.
Opening round, the quarterfinals for DFS is a lot of fun because you're actually getting a decent amount of games. But it's, I mean, dude, us doing a 2-man showdown show was, you know,
it's death, dude.
Was burdensome enough. Doing a solo showdown show.
Well, it's all like, it depends which show it is. If it's live before lock, then it's got to go the hour. If it's not, then it's just done when it's done.
That's true. You pop in for like 25 minutes, give some analysis.
Yeah, I'm not grinding out an extra 35 minutes on like $6,500 FanDuel strategies.
But I mean, throughout the summer, we'll undoubtedly be doing a lot of these together for sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if that comes around and it's you and me.
You would think so. Who knows?
I'm taking a chunk of time at the beginning of July.
Oh, yeah? Nice.
I should probably tell people that.
You just did. How long?
Probably like 2 weeks. We're going to Ireland.
Ooh. Where?
Well, Dublin to start and then undetermined for the rest of that. Katie's got Taylor Swift tickets.
Oh.
I'm not going.
Not. My whole family.
I would go. It's probably a blast.
Yeah, sure. My whole family's from Northern Ireland, but everyone hates those Northern Ireland people.
We will definitely be in Northern Ireland if we're anywhere else other than Dublin.
Okay.
So I got one of Katie's friends, her husband is like legit from Ireland. So they're going to probably be over there when we go over there and get to see some things that you probably wouldn't normally see if you were just traveling without somebody that doesn't know the country.
Anyway, I haven't been there. I'd love to go. Looks beautiful.
I'm excited. I think it's going to be fun. And then we don't know where we're going to hop yet, whether we stay in Ireland for a while, whether we go to like Spain or Italy. We were talking Austria for a little bit, so we don't really know what's up. But we're going to hop somewhere else. If you want to get over the pond, like do something else and make like a trip of it. Yeah.
My good buddy was there last June and said it was just amazing. Like the breathtaking scenery too.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be fun.
That's what I would care about. But yeah. Happy to have you guys with us. Hey, if you wouldn't mind, do me a solid. And Josh, take a single second, atone for your sins on a Monday morning. Hit that thumbs up. This may be the last time I'm able to say that. Subscribe to the channel as well. And leave a comment down below. You're watching, listening after the fact, whatever it may be. We see them, we read them, we respond to them, and appreciate you. And if you ever want to listen in podcast form, you know it's out there. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is you want to listen. You don't want to listen on YouTube? No big deal. Got you in podcast. Anyway, 9 games today. We're going to dive into them, but I have to ask you, you said you don't care at all about the eclipse.
No, didn't know that it was, legitimately didn't know that it was today or anything at all.
So I like this stuff. I was going to take Jordan out of daycare to watch it with me. And I tried the glasses on her the other day and they were falling off. And I was talking to Justine about it. I was like, yeah, maybe I don't want to be the reason she suffers from permanent blindness at 3 years old. So we'll leave her in today. Not yet.
Yeah.
Because like, dude, if those glasses fell off and she's just staring straight at it, that'd be bad. Not that she'd rip them off, but
she might. I mean, kids don't get it.
No, if I said
you stop paying attention or something, and all of a sudden it's just like,
take those glasses off, you know what'll happen to you? I wouldn't do that. But if I said don't take the glasses off, she's not a moron. But dude, I can't believe you haven't seen these conspiracies, like CERN powering up the Large Hadron Collider, and then they're going to that's going to happen today. NASA firing rockets up there. People are freaking out about this, although they're just testing like the atmosphere or some shit. And then the big one is that the sacrifice of the red heifer in Israel and rebuilding of the temple, right? Symbolizing, in essence, the second coming of our Lord. Some crazy stuff, Josh. All supposed to happen around this here solar eclipse on April 8th. And then, of course, you had the powerful and deadly northeastern earthquakes last week.
Yeah.
Everyone was, as far as I know, the death toll was 0.
I assume somebody died.
I don't think they did.
I don't know. It was another thing that I didn't give a shit about.
Yeah. I was recording a video during it.
I saw.
I posted.
That was very Katie enjoyed that.
Oh, you showed her the video? Yeah,
Hers
I was
and
so
Greg's.
confused, dude. But yeah, let's see what happens. I'm gonna be out there for it. Hopefully we survive.
What's this red heifer thing you're talking about? You ever have one of those before?
I have not. Not. Neither red nor a heifer.
I've never had either. I've never had either.
Redhead. Maybe a redhead.
I've definitely had one of the two.
I've dodged the heifers up until this point.
No. And it was she was grain fed too.
She wasn't even free range.
No.
There was let her out.
There wasn't a lot of movement. It didn't seem.
Yeah, I'm telling you, dude. You guys go on the Twitter side of conspiracy side of Twitter before this eclipse, please, and then tweet me with what you find. It's hilarious stuff out there. But anyway, let's get into it, baby. Make it happen. I uncovered all the patio furniture yesterday. Broke the Blackstone out for the first time last week. I'm in a good mood, man. The weather's turning around. You know how it gets around here.
I do.
Yeah.
It's nice when it starts getting nice. Although you're probably due for like one. Oh yeah, we got 3 inches last night. April storm. You never know.
Katie's used to that.
What do we do it twice?
All right. Seattle and Toronto. Happy to have you guys with us. We've got okay, check this game out for a second. Luis Castillo, Jose Berrios, 3.9 run in total for Seattle. Toronto 4.3. Interesting pitching matchup because on the one side, like Berrios to start the season, he's eating innings nicely. Hasn't thrown a ton of pitches. I think like 91 and 88 or 85 or something, but only 8 total strikeouts in his first 2 starts. I don't want to dig too far into this, but I'm just going to throw it out there anyway, because Seattle had the second highest K rate in the league versus righties last year as well, behind only Minnesota. Almost 300 plate appearances against righties so far this season. A 70 WRC plus, sub 100 ISO, 32% strikeout rate. So I understand it's early, but they've been dog shit against righties, dude. And they're striking out a third of the time. Berrios, $7,100 on DraftKings.
He's my most exposed pitcher right now. I'm 2xing the field.
He's just too cheap.
Yeah, park kills lefty power, which is really helpful. 89 park factor to lefties. Does not kill righty power. That'll be a little bit of a scary part running through the heart of that Mariners order, but the strikeout matchup looks solid from this year and last year. He's kind of neutral in terms of expected power. 184 x ISO to lefties, 171 to righties, but like hasn't really been getting aggressively hit hard in any direction. The price tag just doesn't feel correct for what we're getting here. And that's probably the reason we see him as the second most owned pitcher on the slate, 25% owned on DraftKings right now. I have him 15% to be a top 2 scoring pitcher. Our top pitchers tool had it at 12%. So I'm right in that same range, but I'm finding it very easy to get to value, and it's not just Berrios. We'll talk about him in a little bit, but unfortunately, if you've ever watched a show that I do for baseball, Miles Mikolas is showing up in a lot of my stuff, and that seems like it's been 6 years running.
Yeah, and also, you've done shows with us before, and also, even if you're just using the Sims, you're going to get pitchers in spots that you just aren't comfortable with, because in baseball, Greg said it to me the other week. He's like, you just expect to lose each day. Yeah. And that's not a bad thing. In baseball, it's 162 games. There's so much variance in a sport like this. Expecting to lose doesn't mean like you just are succumbing to the idea that you won't win. It's that when you do win, you're putting yourself in a position where you're getting considerable leverage over the field. Are there pitchers like, we don't have to get into them yet, but are there pitchers like that today that you're going to be getting to? Are you kind of sticking pretty status quo at the pitcher position?
Uh, Kind of a little bit of both to that answer. The three guys that I'm getting in heavy rotation are three of the guys that are getting, 15 to 25% ownership. I am, however, quite light on Blake Snell at the top end at 10-3. So that's and I have 0 of Charlie Morton at 10K. So that's a spot where I'm getting a little bit different. But I mean, I could just like Darvish, Barrios, Miles Mikolas are the three guys that I have in, I don't know, call it 3/4 of my lineups. Those guys are all 18, 25, and 18% owned. So I'm not just jamming to unowned dudes, but I am jamming some of these guys that are getting some love.
And by the way, Jose Barrios, I added him in my underdog short today for underdog MLB Pick'em. I've been doing NBA and MLB over on the Odd Shopper channel. Having a lot of fun with that. It's a great site. And you see $100 first match deposit bonus instantly with the link in the description or in chat. Pick 'em, daily drafts, the best ball. Dude, I can't wait. I know you don't care. I load up on best ball. I might try and get you into it this year. You may actually enjoy it. Pretty fun.
Like NFL best ball?
You may enjoy it. Dude, you would have loved NBA.
I would rather go out in my yard whenever that eclipse comes and never look down again.
I think you would have. I think you'd enjoy NBA best ball. I think.
I hate myself for not playing NBA.
I think you would have a significant edge in NBA best ball because, especially doing it earlier, where people are just going off of like basic ADP and basic projections. I think you really would have. Baseball,
I
probably
do. I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
For basketball, unequivocally, it's a mistake that I make each year. I just hate it. Like I don't ever want to spend the time. NFL is 100% no go. If I could. Like, I know you can mute it, but if I could guarantee that I would never see an NFL best ball tweet again, that would be great because that is death.
I can't stand those either, but I love
my God.
best ball. The pick'em contests are awesome. I was going to say we've been on a massive heater for NBA, but last time you said that on this show, things went south quick. So I'm going to go ahead and not say anything. But
smart
$100 first match deposit bonus on Underdog. Link in the description. It's an awesome. They have everything over, literally anything you can think of. It's a really cool site. My personal favorite, just given all of the different stuff that you can play, including best ball for all sports. Cool. But Barrios was a guy that I was on today over strikeouts. Castillo, it's tough. I don't know how much baseball you've been paying attention to out of the gate. I know you're still doing a lot of basketball.
Paying attention to baseball? Not at all. Playing it every day.
Gotcha.
Basically.
Okay. Well, Castillo got off to a killer start last game against Cleveland. Had like 6 or 7 early strikeouts. Then he imploded. It's not the best matchup against Toronto. He's 9,400. But I still think just given the upside in strikeouts, that he's always going to be viable.
He's a guy I'm wishing I got to, but I don't have a single share of. And he's not getting any love either from an ownership perspective, just 1.5%. But I think this matchup fits him quite well. It's a terrible strikeout matchup. This Blue Jays team, at least projection wise, doesn't K a lot. Springer, Vlad, Turner, Kirk, Kiner Falefa all project less than 20% K rates. Castillo's biggest problem is lefties and lefty power. You could strike them out, but 209 X ISO to lefties going back through last year, just a 138 to righties. So he doesn't give up a lot of power to righties, and this is a park that boosts righties. He does give up a lot of power to lefties, but this is a park that reduces lefty power. So I actually think that Luis Castillo is uniquely interesting today, and probably, honestly, like, as weird as it sounds, I think he's under-owned. But I also say that as someone that's not getting to him.
Yeah, now, at least. We have him here. All right, top pitchers tool. Look at the leverage score on Castillo, 12.6%. Nobody else is above 7%. Highest leverage score by far. And then, look, it makes perfect sense. One, he's getting no ownership. He has double-digit strikeout upside. I know it's not a great matchup, but you just laid out all of the reasons why he could have a good start.
Yeah.
And we have him as fourth highest likelihood of being a top 2 pitcher on DraftKings. So there's no reason he should be getting 0 ownership.
No, he's like, I have the exact same data in my top pitcher tool that we have it at 14%. I have it 14%. So I have the same sort of like aggressive positive leverage for him. It hasn't mattered. Leverage for pitcher is not something that usually ends up mattering for me all that much. You consolidate to the top, and then if you don't have it, you don't have it. The leverage on the hitting side is usually what ends up driving more of my roster decisions. But if I somehow ended up with like 10 to 15% Luis Castillo by the end of the day, I would be very happy about it.
Do you have any interest in bats from this game?
No, I got 4% of Springer is the most I got of anything. We have the Blue Jays 13th in top stack. We have the Mariners 10th. I basically have it the same way. Neither team is getting any sort of real love, but this also doesn't feel like the spot that I'm trying to get to for any sort of hitting stacks. I don't have a single stack of either the Blue Jays or the Mariners.
Julio Turan making his debut for the New York Mets. Charlie Morton. I actually have Julio Turan under fantasy points on underdog. That was my other play here. And I'll tell you why, Josh. First of all, Atlanta 6.1 run implied total, almost 80 degrees at first pitch already. We're in, April 8th. I know it's down south, but still like good hitting weather. Minus 230 on the money line for Atlanta. But they're saying he's going to be available for up to 75 pitches. I mean, obviously I don't really have to make many assumptions to know that you're not going to be playing Julio Turan today.
No.
But last year with Milwaukee, I know he only made 12 starts, 1.7 home runs per nine, no strikeouts, no soft contact, like not enough ground balls. This could be a trouble spot for him today. 6+ run implied total for Atlanta.
But revenge narrative.
Yeah, where's Sean at? Where's Sean V at? Let me hear it, Sean.
Hopefully out staring at the eclipse without his glasses on. If we can pray for it, that would be great.
Yeah, you can't play Julio Turan.
No.
What do you?
I have zero.
What are you doing with Atlanta though? Because it's never just as easy as like, hey, I'm playing the team when so many of them are so expensive all the time on a 9-game slate, no less.
So I have a decent enough chunk of Atlanta. I only have 4 main stacks. I also do have 30% Ronald Acuna, and I think it's pretty safe to say that he's my favorite one-off bat that you can get to. But getting to full Atlanta stacks are tough. In the aggregate, they have 75% total ownership. I've got 96, but the large majority of that is being, 30 of my 96 is Acuna. I've got 18% of Ozuna. I've got 12% of Olsen, Harris, Orlando Arcia. They're all over 10%. So for me, I have the Braves largely as either like one-offs with Acuna or 2- and 3-man secondary stacks with some of my more primaries. And that makes a lot of sense to me. I'm filling in with the best things that I could get to from Atlanta because I have so much Barrios and so much Miles Mikolas. I got a lot of salary to go around. So I can pay up for the best bats from Atlanta, but I'm stacking elsewhere.
Man, I can't believe you're getting heavy Miles Mikolas exposure.
Dude, I've gotten him since 2018 on this damn show.
Maybe it ends well. I don't know. Unlikely.
So that's he's just a weird dude. When his price is like this, the strikeout upside for him just becomes largely irrelevant. Like, what you're hoping for here is that he just pitches deeper into the game and makes up for it in that way. And, based on this matchup, I don't think that that's crazy. The implied total is better than I would have expected it to be. But 5,300 is just a price tag that's like pretty tough to get away from, at least for me.
He's surely gotten off to a rough start this year, but there are strikeouts in the Phillies lineup. There are strikeouts. It's just, rough spot. Anyway, are you getting to any Morton today against the Mets? Because let me just say, the thing about this is though, the Mets have been, I know it's early.
Dude, I have jammed the Mets for the past 3 games against the Reds.
Horrible, dude. I mean, this Mets team right now it's real bad, real bad. And does that mean that it lasts forever? No, of course not. Nobody's saying that, but this has been a very, very rough start. Let me just say that a very rough start for the New York Mets. And it is, one of those spots where do you at least consider Morton, or are there just too many other good options out there?
I think Luis Castillo is more interesting of an option than Charlie Morton because of ownership. Morton at 18% and Castillo at 1.5%. That doesn't really compute to me. I think these guys are basically the same dude relative to salary, and yet for some reason that's just not showing up that way. Obviously, the Mets have not looked great so far, so you can juice Morton a little bit. I didn't get to a single share. I think he's a little bit overowned. And if I'm already not getting to Castillo, I see it way more difficult to get to Charlie Morton. So instead of playing Charlie Morton, I'm going to stack the Mets again.
I do
Yeah.
agree the Morton price point is pretty prohibitive. I mean, that salary is good pitcher. Don't get me wrong. Coming off a good opening day start. For what it's worth, though, against the White Sox have scored 16 runs this year so far.
I'm sure I stack them every night.
Yeah, not good. You're getting to the Mets, huh?
I am. We have them 9th in top stack, 7th in top value. I have it 8th and 4th. And that's going to come down to a little bit of whether Tyrone Taylor is in the lineup, who I watched play for a little bit and did not enjoy his swing. But I have 13 Mets stacks to start the day. They are coming in with 31% aggregate ownership. I have 144. I am just aggressively getting to New York, but hitters park, plays up righty power, 109 park factor, plays up lefty power, 114 park factor. Does Morton give up power? Not to lefties, he doesn't. 115 x ISO last year, but 177 to righties is at least a little interesting. That'll be Alonso, that'll be Alvarez, Starling Marte, Taylor if he's in the lineup. So there's enough righty pop that I kind of like it, but I definitely don't like it based on the way that they've played lately.
I do want to talk about this James Paxton spot.
Yeah.
Against Minnesota. And by the way, not to just gloss over it, but yes, if you can fit Atlanta bats comfortably, you want to play Atlanta against Julio Teheran. It's
number 2 stack in top stack for me and for the site.
Yeah, it's a pretty obvious spot there. And at this point, does he get chased early? I don't know. 75 pitches, but had homer issues last year. Like you said, second highest top stack play. The only one higher is the Arizona Diamondbacks against Kyle Freeland at Coors Field.
Yeah.
And he's been just shit on through the first 2 starts.
That hasn't been great.
No. Paxton against Minnesota. Minnesota is one of those teams that can, make a pitcher look really bad with power or make a pitcher look far better than they are. Paxton's just one of those guys that you remember only a handful of years ago. He's one of the best in the league. Injuries, more injuries, but still has some strikeout stuff. Minnesota only has a 4-run total at home, and James Paxton is coming in at, I think, a reasonable price point at $8,700. We have him 12% top 2 pitcher on the slate, only 6% ownership though, but 6% positive leverage as well.
I have the same positive leverage in my stuff. Kind of like Castillo, I only have 4%, so I'm not getting there as much as I would have liked. Really weird matchup for Paxton. He's likely to see 9 righties. At least that's how it's projecting right now. These guys don't strike out all that much. It's a horrible strikeout matchup. Correa, Santana, Farmer, Margot, Martin, and Vasquez, all sub 20% K rates projected against lefties in this spot. But then you get to Paxton's numbers where he doesn't strike out lefties at all. 18% K rate going back through last year, 26% K rate to righties. So while he does strike righties out more, he's also going to see only righties, and these righties don't appear to strike out. So it's an interesting balance for Paxton. I'm happy to have a little bit. I think this is another situation where I think I prefer Castillo to Paxton, and I'm still not getting to Castillo.
There's some good pitching on this slate.
There is. It's always fun at the beginning of the year because you usually line up lots of really good pitching on certain days until it really starts to get jumbled up in the wash.
I said that to Matt Belman the other day. It was like, this was the 5th day of the season, and you just had every rough arm that you could think about.
Yeah.
And then it shuffles back around. But this is actually unique, even I think, to this year because there's so many injured aces. There's so many guys that are injured right now. Now Strider goes down, Bieber goes down. Bieber's done for the year.
That's probably not the first time a Bieber's gone down.
Not if you ask Diddy.
Nah.
No, there's a lot, man. A lot of high upside spots. How
I don't
about
want
the
to talk
fact
about
that
Strider. That one stung. Obviously, as a Braves fan, it wasn't great. And then
that's tough.
I had like 75% of them that day too. So it was a real kick in the dinger.
Gallen's getting 16% though. Paxton around the same price getting 6%.
I'm a little bit heavier on Gallon.
Yeah. It is amazing that the Rockies have become so bad that good pitchers are still getting good ownership at Coors Field.
I've been on the play pitchers and Coors train for a while, but
Yeah,
it gets better and better because they keep getting worse and worse.
exactly. Do you have any interest in Bailey Ober?
Nope.
How about
I like him a lot less than we do. We have him 10% top pitcher, 10% top value. I have it 4 and 4. So he is a firm 0 for me. And you know, it's the Dodgers on the opposite side.
Yeah.
Fucking
The
all-star
Dodgers
team.
surprisingly striking out a good amount. They got some strikeouts, but still so much
Yeah.
power.
Yeah, that's because if it's not a strikeout, it's in the bleachers.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I still think you're looking towards the Braves over the Dodgers. Bailey Ober gave up, got trounced in his first start. 3 home runs, 9 runs, didn't get out of the second inning. We have the Dodgers with the, fifth highest top stack probability in the top stack
5th.
tool. 5th
I own
highest.
4th, but same thing.
Here's the problem. We also have them with the lowest value score of any team on the slate, 1.6. That's extraordinarily low.
Well, when you go Betts, Ohtani, Freeman, 6,500, 6,300, 6,100, it becomes pretty difficult to fill out anything else after that.
That's what it comes down to for me, though. Like, how do you play it? I guess, I guess you could say, all right, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to forego any expensive pitching. I'm going to go to Jose Barrios and maybe find somebody else down there that we can talk about.
Mikolas.
Miles Mikolas, and then fit that Dodgers stack in. Suppose that's one way to do it.
Yeah, it's not the way that I'm doing it. I have 0 stacks of the Dodgers. I've got about 8% of Ohtani, and that's it. I don't have much of the Twins either. The only guy that I'm getting to north of 10% is Byron Buxton. So I'm keeping all of my exposure at the top of the lineups for teams that I'm not getting stacks in. So at the very least, everything that I want to do is working correctly.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Sims tool now. I have like 7% Dodgers, which means if that's the case, not all 5-man stacks either, by the way.
Yeah.
Which means that my highest exposed pitchers are, okay, yeah, so clearly going to be some of the cheaper pitchers, which we'll get to be expected with some of the stacks that I'm getting to.
By the way, 245 x ISO for Bailey Ober against righties. Buckle up against Betts and Smith and Teoscar, and Chris Taylor is going to be the only guy that's not as interesting.
Not easy at all.
No. And it's not like the lefties lack it.
No, of course. Anything else from this game?
I don't think so.
Philly and St. Louis. Spencer Turnbull had a great start his first time out. He's like that. Once in a while, he threw, what was it, his first start with Philly last year. I don't think it was a no-hitter, but I think he went out and threw a complete game shutout. It was,
you know better than me.
Well, they brought Detroit, right? They brought him over from Detroit because he was he was with Detroit prior to that.
I didn't even know he was on Philly last year.
Yeah, he came over, to Philly, in Citizens Bank Park through. Where is it? I'd have to find it. Unless I'm in.
Sounds like you're thinking of somebody else.
I don't think I am, but it's possible. Anyway,
well, have you found the game yet?
No, I'm still looking.
Well, then I guess it's not that possible.
Well, I'm just wondering.
He had 7 Ks and he only gave up 1 run in his opener last year.
With who? Philly?
Seems it. No, that's this year. No, was he not? No, he wasn't on Philly last year. Lorenzen? You thinking of Michael Lorenzen?
Oh, thank you. Yep, Michael Lorenzen. Yep.
Shout out Brad Taylor in chat. That ain't me.
Thank you, Brad. Michael Lorenzen. Yep, that was it. Listen, these type of guys you can mix up pretty easily.
Yeah.
But yeah, Michael Lorenzen. That's what it was. Yep. I don't know what
Anyway, Spencer Turnbull.
yeah, on the Philadelphia Phillies. He had a great start. St. Louis does have some strikeouts in this lineup. The reason the reason I'm presenting it to you like this is because he is sub 7K. If you are getting any of those insanely expensive stacks, we're going to have to talk about some of these guys, whether it's uncomfortable or not.
I have 6% of Turnbull. I'm much lower on him than we are. We have him 10% top pitcher, 17% top value. I have it 4 and 9. I just see him as a difficult option to want to get to in any sort of bulk because of Barrios. Barrios $200 more expensive. I have him sizably projected higher. Now the park is great for Turnbull. Lefty power just dies in St. Louis. 81 park factor to lefties. Turnbull, since last season, not a huge sample. He's only thrown like 600 pitches. Lefties have absolutely bludgeoned him. So look out for Nolan Gorman. Look out for Alec Burleson. Not a ton of other lefty power. Brendan Donovan-ish, good hitter at least. So the Cardinals do tend to run a little bit heavier righty power-wise. Turnbull had no real issue limiting righty power. So I don't mind getting there at least a little bit. I think he's kind of properly owned, around 9%.
By the way, Lorenzen did come over from Detroit last year. And first start with Philly, 8 innings, 2 runs. Second start, no hitter.
I feel like I might have won a slate last year with that.
Third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and 8 starts got absolutely destroyed. So yeah, that was short-lived. Michael Lorenzen. How much? I didn't hear you. How much Turnbull did you say you have, if any?
6%.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds about right. How much? How much, Mikolas?
50? No, sorry. 48.
48.
Just a little bit, nothing crazy.
Yeah. All right.
Do you know when that start was for Lorenzen? Do you have that still in front of you?
Wait, the no-hitter or the first start?
Either one of them, I guess.
August 3rd and then August 9th.
Let's
9th
see
was
here.
no-hitter. 3rd was his debut with the Phillies against Miami.
Wasn't that day.
Yeah, 3rd or the 9th.
No. I shipped with a giant so both times I shipped last year had Trey Turner in it, but I had Nola in the 50K winner in August. Like right around that, like August 11th. So like I knew I was in that range, and I knew I had Philly.
Yep. I ran the Sims. I have 25% Mikolas right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's 5,300 is a very real price tag in this spot.
For a guy who's actually a real pitcher, he's not, he's not good, but he's also not a creative player, right? Like
No.
That's
working
why.
on it.
I do have a lot
of
it's
a terrifying spot.
Yeah. Because here's the one good thing about Mikolas, right? I'm going to say this knowing that things will ultimately end poorly for us. However, Miles Mikolas, who is no stranger to giving up some home runs, Phillies are notorious for solo shots. It is crazy how often they hit home runs with no one on base. I'm telling you, man, maybe I'm just misremembering this, but if you went back to last year, I bet they led the league in solo shots. It was just an insane amount of home runs with no one on base. And oftentimes just useless run production because they'd have 4 homers in a game and lose 5-4. So
I'm trying to look that up. I can't find it anywhere.
Someone in chat might be able to find it, but anyone that watches Phillies or just knows anything about the Phillies, there a ton of solo shots. But even if you're getting there, are you not interested in Philly bats here today? 4.5 run total, 4.7, by the way, for the St. Louis Cardinals against Spencer Turnbull.
In theory, I should be. I have them 6th in top stack. So do we. someone, I mean, either way, like it's 224x ISO to lefties across last year and this year, 191 to righties. He strikes out less than 17% of batters. So like everybody's live to bludgeon him, and obviously Schwarber and Harper both have massive, massive, massive power. Not to say anything less for some of the other guys on the team. So it's definitely a boom bust spot here. You can easily see the Phillies, hitting a couple bombs, but with the way this park really nerfs power, it's going to come down to whether the righties get to him. Like obviously Schwarber and Harper can hit a ball out of a tough lefty park and it doesn't matter, but it's way less likely in this particular spot. It's the righties that would have to like really do the damage on paper. Do I wish that I offset some of that Miles Mikolas ownership with some Philly stacks and kind of play both sides? Yeah, a little bit, but at the same time, that's just not where it's going. It's clear to me that I need the value of Mikolas and the bats elsewhere.
When Schwarber hits a home run, it actually doesn't matter where it is.
No, no.
Yeah, doesn't.
I mean,
actually
the dude, he's a tank too, dude.
Yeah, with that compact swing too. It always amazes me that with that very compact swing, the ball can soar 500 feet.
I feel like he swings a telephone pole though. He's just like,
it's true.
He's going to ride around the bases on a blue ox.
Anything else for this one? You want to talk Houston and Texas?
I don't have anything to say on the Cardinals side, bats wise. We have them 11th in top stack. I don't have any of it, so I don't have any stacks in this game.
Framber Valdez, Andrew Heaney, tough spot for Heaney. Just against a Houston team that has very little strikeouts. And, if you're going into this as Andrew Heaney, you're like, all right, well, I'm facing 7 righties, but then the 2 lefties I have to face are Alvarez and Tucker. That doesn't seem right.
Righty power, 204x ISO for Andrew Heaney.
But I'm saying even Tucker and Alvarez smash left-handed pitching. So there's
but
no
like
break throughout this lineup.
Altuve, Bregman, Diaz, McCormick, Abreu, Payne, like all these guys have 170 projected ISOs or higher. This could get scary. By the way, 112 park factor to righties for people in Texas. So scary spot for Heaney. I don't have a single share. He's 15% owned. To me, one of the easier fades. Like, does he have in your mind strikeout upside? Yeah. In this matchup, 15% K rate for Altuve, 15 for Tucker, 11 for Bregman, 18 for Diaz. Like, this is about as bad as it can get. So I'm very happy to not have him. And I am getting to quite a bit of the Astros stacks.
They have like 5 guys in this lineup with that had sub 15% K rates against lefties last year.
Yeah,
like,
that's
insane.
I've got 10 stacks of the Astros. I'm where I want to be in this game.
And by the way, Heaney has great strikeout stuff. There's no denying that. But if you're going to just continue to put the ball in play, excuse me, put the ball in play against him, that could get ugly pretty quickly. He's not like a ground ball pitcher, No. Last year 40%, but 2022 34% ground ball rate. He for his career 37% ground balls.
We're gonna get some fly balls today, I hope.
Yeah.
As long as it's not Yordan Alvarez, who I appear to be fading. So apparently I'm not playing your daughter much.
Yeah, that'll never go away. But
no, that's one of the funniest things ever.
Yeah, it is. He's had real homer issues before.
Like, yeah.
Good. He's a guy that will play in good strikeout spots, but this is as bad as it gets for a lefty too.
Yeah, I hope that ownership holds. Like that's 15% of lineups that I think we're just going to die right out of the gate.
Well, what I wanted to ask you though is when you're looking at some of these expensive stacks, we talked Atlanta already. We talked about the Dodgers already. There's going to be a couple others that we get to as well. Arizona. How would you kind of prioritize a team like Houston in this spot, especially looking at our tools?
We have them top stack. I have them third in top stack. I have 16% aggregate exposure. They're my third most exposed team right now.
Okay. That's up there then. Yeah.
Yeah. And the other two are the Diamondbacks, which surely is not surprising to anybody given the role here. And then the Mets, which is surely surprising to everyone.
Very surprising. But so I guess Mikolas isn't surprising. Any interest in Valdez against Texas?
A little bit. I think he's properly owned at 10%. I have his implied ownership at 11. We have him 13% top 2 pitcher. I have him 11% top 2 pitcher. I like the price tag. He's in a much better side of this matchup. The offense for Texas is way worse than Houston. The strikeout matchup is way better than Houston. The amount of power in the Texas lineup is way lower than Houston, at least based on the projected lineup that I have here. So I'm very happy to get to a little bit of Framber Valdez. Not a priority by any means, but like certainly a guy that you could work into lineups.
Let's talk about the Diamondbacks and Rockies. Before we do, let me run the lineup generator. We already ran the Sims. Gave you a decent idea of what I was looking at. By the way, now it's still early. Things will never change as much in baseball throughout the day as they will in basketball, just with all of the injuries. Especially, dude, this time of the year has been nuts for basketball. But
yeah, I have not been playing.
No, yeah, it's tough. I've just been jamming 80 bets down on OddsShopper every day. I'll tell you what, bit of a time commitment, but well worth it.
Yeah.
Having an insane April. I was telling you before the show, the home run model. Well, I won't call it a home run model. It's the market-based tool.
Yeah.
I had a plus 870 yesterday, plus 670. So I think I hit 6 of 18 home runs, Josh, and all of them were plus 350 or longer, and it was just good. And I just used the bet size recommendation too. So I'm not going and throwing a unit on every one of these home run bets, but man, you have some of those days where you hit a handful of them. Your day is made before any of your other bets settle. Like my day was made before any of the NBA games even tipped off.
Yeah, that's just bonus.
Yeah.
It's fun.
People love OddsShopper, but and links down there as always, if you ever want to get in on that. Been crushing the home. Plus, look, I'm getting as much down as I can. Anything that's plus EV, I'm betting. But with home runs, it's just now that you're in a legal state, maybe you can't speak to this, but in my opinion, one of the most fun sweats is home runs out of anything for DFS for sure, but for betting as well. When you got like a plus 850 home run that hits, it's an amazing feeling.
Yeah, I haven't had the opportunity to like mess around with baseball just yet, but that will be here probably in like a week or two. Once the NBA becomes easy, where it's just like, oh, there's 4 games on the slate. I don't have you're not, I need everything changes in the middle of the day. Like everything just is about to get a lot easier on the NBA side. Then I'm going to start ramping up baseball.
With OS Premium though, I don't even have to really know it. As long as I can look at it and go, all right, those are the true odds. And then I look and I'm like, wow, every other book has this minus EV play, Pinnacle, FanDuel, Circa, and Caesars has it at plus 140 where everyone else has it at minus 110. Smashing that like every single time. Doesn't matter. So been a lot of fun, but
I'm excited.
Yeah, you should be. Pull up the lineup generator, Jordan. I just want to see what we're getting. Go to all stack types. All lineups. And then we don't have to lock anybody. Go down and you can discard the ones you don't want and save the ones you want. You can swap players out on this, but for the sake of this, just save 20 lineups. I want to see what exposures look like here, Josh, for pitching and stacks in the lineup generator.
Miles Mikolas season, baby.
It might be. We're getting a good amount of them in the Sims. And with the lineup generator, we're throwing out all of the lineups that don't grade out well, only keeping the ones that grade out well. All right, go to stack exposures. I have a feeling it's going to be a lot of Arizona. Yeah. Arizona, Tampa, Atlanta are the 3 highest, Josh.
I'm trying to see that. Maybe make that bigger.
Yeah, I just pinned it to the screen on Zoom, but 70% Arizona stacks out of 20.
I get it.
30% Tampa. What do you think about the Tampa stacks today?
I don't have much of it. I'm mostly using those guys as one-offs, but I mean, great spot here against Tyler Anderson, and the park plays up. The problem is they're going to run out 9 righties, and Angels Park plays up lefty power, massive 122 park factor to lefties, just 106 to righties, which is still good, but the Rays are projected to run out 9 righties today. So it's offsetting a little bit of how bad Tyler Anderson is.
Those renovations affected left-handed power a ton a few years ago, right?
I believe so, yeah.
At Angel Stadium. I'm pretty sure it was because that used to be very pitcher friendly.
And that sounds right.
Yeah. Go to player exposure. I just want to see the highest exposed pitchers, Jordan. So Blake Snell, there's Turnbull for you, Josh.
Yeah.
You
I'd rather have
Darvish,
Lorenzen.
Barrios. Trying to see if there's any Miles Mikolas in here, but I don't see it. No. There you go. 7% Miles Mikolas. All right. And guys, link
Ooh,
down
okay.
there as always.
The Angels Park stuff is way further back in time than you remember it to
Like
be.
maybe 8 years, 7 years.
15, 16, 17. The park factor for lefties was 84, 85, 88. In 2018, 123, then 117, 140, 120, 140. Like,
Okay, so like 6 seasons ago. Yeah.
yeah,
But
you were right.
Yeah,
Though.
they made renovations. They brought the walls in at Angel Stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to Arizona and Colorado. 6.1 total implied total for Arizona, 4.6 for Colorado. Zach Gallen's a stud, man. So I can understand why anybody would want to get to him. I mean, he's a very good pitcher, and Colorado is just terrible. Now, Coors Field does suppress strikeouts. That's true, but Gallen's not a guy that gives up a lot of power. Now, Coors, you're worried more about gapped balls than you are home runs in many cases, but I think you could argue this is still a perfectly fine spot for him. His price is commensurate with the matchup. They've brought him down to 8,200. He was 9,300 to open the year.
Yeah, I have both sides of it. So I have Gallen in 12% of my lineups. We have him 13% to be a top 2 pitcher. I have it 15, so that makes sense. He's 16% owned. I think being around 15% on Zach Gallen makes a ton of sense, but I'm also getting to Colorado here. I tend to usually. They're not getting ownership. They're 13th in aggregate ownership, 3.5%. Nobody has more than 6%. So I have 12 Rocky stacks, and I'm getting I'm like well over the field on Colorado. So I'm getting both sides of it. If it goes well for Gallen, great. I would prefer it to go well for Colorado. That would benefit me more for sure based on the ownership. There's enough pop in this lineup to make me feel a little bit better. Gallen 165 x ISO to lefties, 178 to righties. So he's prone to give up a little bit. Like that's a little higher than you would like it to be. He could also just go out there and completely dominate Colorado because they're really bad.
Yeah. I will say though, I can understand why you'd get there. I still don't really like Colorado, even as a contrarian piece, just because Gallen's ability to limit power is and granted at home far more than on the road, but
yeah,
his ability to limit power is really good. And he's just one of these like tactical pitchers that doesn't make a ton of mistakes. So I get it. I mean, let's see, what's Colorado's stack ownership? That's what it would come down to.
3.5.
It's really low.
Yeah. It's so interesting how Colorado like isn't really a power park.
It's an extra base hits park. It's
Yeah.
not really a homer park. Like it's because if you look at the cavernous dimensions of that park, it's so like if you were to look at the, how they have like the overhead kind of view of a field, right?
Yeah.
The way that it's shaped is super weird.
Very.
And the outfield's so deep. But yes, people think that it's just a homer park. It's not.
No, it's
What
just
was the home run rating there the home run rating at Coors last year?
Let's check.
I mean, it's not bottom of the league.
No. 131, but that was 9th.
Right, 9th.
Yeah.
Like what was Great American?
It was 131 is this year. Sorry, I was looking at it. 103 last year for home runs.
And what's that?
Either hand.
What is
103? It should be like right around the middle here. 14th, 15th, something like that.
And what was Great American? Great American was probably
2nd.
Yeah. Citizens Bank Park.
I mean, the best home run park in baseball is Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
It's not close.
And
Yankee
Philly,
Stadium's also fantastic.
What?
Yankee Stadium's also fantastic.
So is Citizens Bank Park once it warms up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I bet if you look at like doubles and triples for Coors, it is way up there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So still a good park. It's just the production comes in different ways. But it is funny, like you're saying, because a lot of people will only want to target like home run power bats at Coors. But that's not the way it works. So
no.
Look at both sides of this one. don't turn your nose up at anybody, particularly from Arizona. 6.1 total. Freeland, you know what's going to happen. Freeland's had 2 road starts to kick off the year. He's just going to come into Coors where he hasn't pitched yet. He's allowed 17 runs in 5 2/3 innings. Not good at all.
No.
4 walks, 4 strikeouts, 3 home runs, 17 runs on 19 hits against the Cubs at Wrigley and against Arizona in Arizona. He's going to come in the Coors and he's going to throw like 6 scoreless innings.
It wouldn't surprise that the type of shit will happen all year,
Yep. It's baseball. But Arizona looks really good today.
They do. Number 1 in top stack, number 1 in my top stack. I have 21% of them. They're 17% owned. I'm completely eating every bit of this chalk. Highest owned guy is Ketel Marte at 23%. I'm over that number. I'm a little bit lower on the bottom of the order. Randall Grichuk, Blaze Alexander, Kevin Newman, but the first 5 guys are in 16% or more of my lineups. I don't know how you don't want to do that. And the run total is fantastic. The ballpark's great. Kyle Freeland is awful. Like every little bit of this looks more than okay to me. Freeland 238x ISO to righties, which is insane to start with. They're gonna have
going back to when
through the beginning of last year.
Oh my god.
As of right now, they're projecting for 1 lefty bat. Oh, by the way, his strikeout rate against righties in that time, this is 2,000 pitches, by the way.
Let me take a guess.
Go ahead.
15.8%.
That would make him elite. 12.5.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So I want all of Arizona.
Yeah. How do you not? Like, it's you're going to put balls in play against them. It doesn't matter what happens. Like, if you're just smoking balls and they're getting caught, fine. Who cares? Like, you live with that, you know? But he's not getting strikeouts.
No. 17% K rate to lefties. They're not going to be really in the lineup. I mean, he's just going to, think about it like this. The average hitter had a 238x ISO against Kyle Freeland last year if they hit from the right side. And Marte, Gurriel, Christian Walker, Eugenio Suarez, these are not average ISO type dudes. So Kyle Freeland strikes out 10.
Yeah, exactly. It's, oh my God. Now, granted, not very warm in Colorado. Not sure it matters.
No.
AZ Bob said that he finished top 3, sent the Stochastic Hall of Fame. We can go. Haven't heard anything back. Any suggestions? Yeah, you got it. So if you go to the stochastic.com/avatar where you see all this, download the avatar, finish top 3 in a field of 5,000 or more, rocking the avatar, then tweet us your win at Stochastic HOF, get the free month, $200 value, any package, any Sims package you want. It says in there though, and no big deal because it's easy to miss this. After you do all of that, email us at support@stochastic.com. Ron will get you set up with a free subscription today. He's real quick on getting back to you. So email us at support@stochastic.com and you'll get set up, Bob. For sure. Any of you guys that got a free month, just hit us up. Email us. All right. Eflin and Tyler Anderson. I don't really have much interest in the Angels against Eflin today. He has proven himself to be a very good pitcher right now.
Yeah.
Eflin, was a guy in Philly that was very hit or miss, but he's really developed into a top, upper echelon pitcher. I don't know if that means I'm going to get a ton of him today against the Angels. And we just pointed out there's definitely more hitter-friendly dimensions in that Angels ballpark than there used to be. Yep. But Tampa is the one that in the lineup generator and when I ran the Sims that I was getting a decent amount of Tampa exposure today against the left-handed Tyler Anderson.
Yeah. So Anderson is not somebody I want to get to. Sub 20% K rate to lefties and righties, gets bludgeoned for the most part by both of them, lefties in particular. Now they are going to be running out 9 righties. But this is just not a spot where I'm really looking to get to Tyler Anderson. He's 12% owned. I don't get it. I'd rather get to Eflin, but add him to the list with James Paxton and Luis Castillo of guys that aren't getting as much ownership as they should. I have him 13% implied odds. He's only 5% owned. We have him 12% top pitcher. I have it 16. You want to split the difference, call it 14. I think that Zach Eflin is getting a little underrepresented here in a great strikeout matchup, whether that's Trout, who Ks a lot, Sano, who Ks a lot, Mickey Moniak, that Ks a lot. And then you look at someone like Eflin, who can mow people down for sure. 28.5% K rate against righties going back to the beginning of last year. So I think this looks like a pretty sneaky spot for Eflin in a situation where like he's really just not pulling the ownership you would expect.
He's not. I mean, he's good. So it goes back to the same conversation we had with Castillo. Just that if these guys aren't getting ownership, even if they're not in the best matchup or the best park, they're viable just because they're good. And, you know, Eflin can pitch relatively deep in the games. They've only allowed him to throw 81 and 83 pitches. He got the hook in the inning, though. So it wasn't like after the fifth, after the sixth.
Right.
It was 5 2/3, 6 1/3. Not to split hairs, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
Sure.
he got into a jam and they said, let's get him out. If he can smoothly get through, you're getting him up north of 90 for sure. So
Absolutely.
I get it. Do I love the spot? No, I do like the low ownership on Eflin.
Yeah, like if everything that I said about Luis Castillo didn't sound great to you, it's basically the same situation for
Exactly. It used to be Rosie 18 plus that was always popping up on Twitter for me. You know what I'm talking about? Always the sex spot that would pop up, you know, Rosie.
Dude, I thought you were trying to talk about like some guy with a K rate. I was like, I don't know what.
Truly the wildest segue I may have ever done on this show.
Yeah, I miss her.
The Eclipse anticipation is coming. Well, I missed it too until Sarah 18 plus popped up saying I got a far better gift in my bio. Sarah's nice.
Does she have a better gift? Did you check the bio?
You haven't seen? No, I refuse to link click here, but I will always hit show.
What could happen? Can you, if I just go to one of your tweets, can you tell me which one she's hiding under?
I can tell you which one she's hiding under. The one where I was showing the home run props I hit from yesterday and telling you guys
your most recent tweet.
Yeah, telling you guys with promo code LAFA you get 20% off a week or a month of Odd Shop. But
let's see what we got going on here.
Not bad. I had a nice, pleasant little treat when I clicked show on that.
Linda King or Sarah?
Sarah 18 plus.
Oh, I'd make coffee and use the air fryer with her.
Yeah, damn right you would. So you've been replaced, old Rosie. Anyway.
Man, that girl would never talk to me. Do you see her bio? Let me drain your balls, daddy.
Is that what it said?
Yeah.
It's just so brazen and outrageous. Like these clearly aren't real people.
So her the first tweet you get to is you deserve a booty pic today. And the picture is just not that. It's just her with her tongue out in the mirror.
Well, these people aren't real, man. It's anyway. Tampa bats look nice though. I know they only have a 4.4 run total, but you know, how many righties are we going to see in this Tampa lineup? Come back to earth for me, man. I know. I'm sorry for putting.
I'm going to need 2.5 minutes and a bottle of lotion, and I'll be back in no time. What are you asking me, man? You did this.
I know. I'm sorry. I was saying Tyler Anderson, the Rays bats against Anderson. We talked about Eflin. We talked about not wanting to get to Anderson, but he's not a high strikeout pitcher. Not a guy that gives up a ton of power, but there's some talent in this Tampa lineup that if they're going to be overlooked for a lot of these other stacks today, which they're not, they're getting 11% ownership.
Yeah.
Then that makes you wonder, is it worth getting there? Because the price point, the value score on them looks better than anything else.
Yeah, they're basically free outside of Diaz and Arozarena. I don't have them. I've got a decent chunk of them as filler. Like I have 10% of Harold Ramirez. I got to 6% of Arozarena. I have 8% of Caballero at the bottom. But I don't have a single Rays stack. I think they're just a little over-owned. We have them second in stack score at 8.5%. We have them owned at 11.7. So I think they're pulling a little bit too much love because of their price. And because I'm paying down for Barrios and Mikolas so much, I don't need to pay down for bats in the same way.
I will be honest. I'm a little bit surprised, even at the price, that they're getting as much ownership as they are.
Number two, they're fourth in top stack, second in top value. They're just really easy to roster.
That is it. Yeah. Atlanta's not easy. Dodgers aren't easy. Philly's not particularly easy. There's still some expensive bats in Philly. Arizona, in Coors, all those price got jacked up. This is clearly a price thing for sure. On paper, it's a pretty nice spot though, given their salaries.
Yeah, I just think they're already pulling a little bit too much ownership, and that's what's stopping me. But
No, I get it.
fourth in top stack, second in top value. If you like the Rays, go for it.
Yep. Cubs and San Diego, Javier Assad, Yu Darvish. I was looking at the top pitchers tool. We have Yu Darvish, third highest top 2 pitcher probability on DraftKings, where you're rostering 2 pitchers. Getting ownership though. Darvish, what, fifth highest projected owned pitcher right now. Slight negative leverage. Snell, Barrios, Morton, and Miles Mikolas are your top 4 highest owned. Yu Darvish rounds out the top 5. But the thing is, Gallen's right behind him. Heaney's right behind him. All of those guys are grouped together outside of Barrios and Blake Snell.
I have all the Darvish. He's in 42% of my stuff. I always do. Like, we have him top 6, or we have him 16% to be a top 2 pitcher. I have it at 26. It's just like, I'm never with the field on Darvish. I get to this guy constantly, but at the same time, the Cubs suck. This park is great to nerf lefty power. There's a lot of strikeouts in this Cubs lineup. And when I say the Cubs suck, I mean, they suck today. Like, their implied total is horrific for what this slate is. Second lowest, I believe. So I'm finding myself getting to a lot of Darvish here, and that is not going to change for me. This is a guy that he's my third most exposed pitcher. So 42% of Darvish, 50 of Barrios, and then 48 of Miles Mikolas. That is basically making up the large majority of my exposure. 70% of my pitching exposure is going to those 3 guys.
It is interesting to see San Diego and Chicago, 2 of the bottom 4 top stack teams in the top stack tool. You know, I guess the question here is there any interest in, I don't really think you need to get to the Cubs, but is there any interest in San Diego against Assad today, getting 0 ownership?
I don't have anything here. Not a single share of a Padre, which is honestly surprising me a little bit.
Well, they're not cheap.
No, 16th in top value for us
is
pretty big struggle. That's for sure. I don't have a single lineup with anybody from the Padres or the Cubs. The only thing that I have here is Yu Darvish.
Let's wrap it up with Washington and San Francisco then. Washington slate low 3.2 run applied total here against San Francisco and Blake Snell. San Fran 5 run total. Clearly a favorable park for Blake Snell. I know you said you were getting under the field in him. I have a lot right now. Just initial exposures running the sims, initial exposures running the lineup generator, both of which getting a lot. It is objectively, and I think you'll be able to make a pretty good argument against getting over the field there. But for me, it's like, if I'm going to Snell or Morton, I know the Mets have been bad, but I'm paying the extra 300 just to get to Blake Snell.
While I don't have it, I have no disagreements that he looks like the best pitcher on today's slate. He clearly projects as the top guy, 32% top pitcher odds in our top pitcher tool. I have the same thing, 32%. Like, I have no disagreement. It's just from a roster construction standpoint, it seems like it's just driving me away from him. I don't feel comfortable about it. The Nats aren't good. It's not an overwhelmingly awesome strikeout matchup. Although if Joey Gallo is in the lineup, I do have him projected for a 41% K rate, which I don't think I've ever seen anybody get north of 40 before.
He should mow these dudes down there against Blake Snell.
Yeah, he should mow these dudes down. The park is great. It destroys power. Snell doesn't really give up power to begin with, but 83 park factor to righties, 84 to lefties. That's as limiting as it's going to get. And there is no power to be found in this Nats lineup. Every single bit of this for Snell looks awesome.
Any worries making his first start that we could see some limitations here?
Not really. That was a little bit of a discussion point in Discord this morning. And, I let it rip. I got all my projections done. And when I went to the betting market, like, I was a little bit under his K prop. It was 6.5 when we started the show. That does not imply to me that he is aggressively limited in any way. Do I think he's going to go the full bore? No. But I don't think anything's going to stop him from how much he can play from being a great play.
I agree. Also, I mean, he's expensive. He's not crazy expensive.
No, 10-3 is not bad.
No, it's doable. I'm just trying to see, because he had an extended spring training. I was trying to see just how many pitches he was throwing.
He mowed a shit ton of dudes down in his last start.
Did he?
Yeah.
Wasn't sure if you could pull it up because I didn't have it in front of me. But
let me see if I can find it quickly. Give me 1 second. I'll be able to get there pretty quick.
But if that's what you're saying, then we shouldn't have too many concerns about this.
Where the hell did I paste that? He struck out 11 in 4 innings versus their AA affiliate.
Wow. Granted, AA, but can you see pitches?
I don't know.
No.
That just got said to me in Discord earlier today.
Okay. Either way, pretty good. I have no interest in Washington bats here. I don't see why you would. We have way too many other options, even lower owned options. What about San Francisco bats against Trevor Williams to wrap up this show?
I tend to not get a lot in these scenarios just because the park really does limit power, and that's such a driving force for like really getting a breakthrough game. But Trevor Williams certainly allows people to have power. 195 x ISO to lefties, 242 to righties since the beginning of last season. If this game were somewhere else, I think the Giants bats would look awesome. In this case, they look okay, and I'm fine using some of these guys as one-offs, but there's just so much less of the home run power in this park that it just takes the sting out of it for me. We have them 7th in top stack. I have them 10th. They do tend to pinch hit a lot too. We also have them as the #1 value team. I'm just not finding my value in bats. I'm finding it in pitching, and I'm paying for bats.
I will say though, just playing devil's advocate for a second here, because they're not getting a ton of ownership. They're not unowned either. The fact that they have the 5th highest implied total in San Francisco on a 9-game slate, that is kind of telling.
Yeah, like I think they look good. I think they're properly owned, and that's really the problem here.
Yeah. And also, as you put it, they could still rack those runs up, but what a tough park to hit homers, for sure.
Yeah.
That's another issue.
It's death, dude.
Anyway, appreciate you guys hanging out. As always, Sims data, even if you just don't want Sims, you want data, even though we throw in some free data or free Sims with that, a light version or a lineup generator, best bang for your buck. I promise you, have any tool out there you're looking to get in kind of entry-level stuff, lineup generator, link in the description and in chat, week, month, whatever you guys want to do. If you ever have questions, my DMs are open. Greg did tutorials on all of these things. Really get you started off. No learning curve whatsoever. You're looking to crush it in the MLB streets, and Jordan and I will be filming the Hall of Fame segment shortly. You'll see. It's been a good start to the year. We'd love to have you over. And if you do decide to join, hop in our Discord and say hello. Be it Stochastic or over at Odd Shopper, where we've been crushing early on. Josh, man, we'll be back doing this at some point. It's fun though. Nice little I didn't even know you were on the show today.
Neither did I. I enjoy baseball, man. From like an analytics perspective, it's very set and forget. So I can talk about it very quickly and not have to do much work. It's the exact opposite of the NBA.
Fun to talk about. Appreciate you guys hanging out as always. Hit that thumbs up before you go. Have a great rest of the day. Stay safe. Don't look into the sun. Hopefully we're alive to see you tomorrow. Peace.
I'll hold my eyes up open extra.